Friday. So happy that it is Friday. Thank God. I'm Terrance Bates, everyone. Ed and Karyn, good morning to you too.
Good morning. Thanks for a great birthday celebration yesterday. Don't want to be ungrateful, but I don't know if you saw this. This could have been a better cake. Look at this. The monster 6 kg burger cakes that broke the internet. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. Wow.
I think for Terrance's birthday, this could be a thing. I mean, you like burgers and fries. You like the chicken. Look at the cheese on top.
How do you eat that?
Gluttony is a sin. I'm greedy. I'm not gluttonous, though. Admittedly, I'm greedy. But,
well, you got to chop it up.
Much.
You share it with your friends. This is what we did with the cakes yesterday. So thanks to Colin and Karyn. 2 cakes yesterday. So that was amazing. And burgers, lead me to the next thing. When I covered the White House, I used to love working with the Secret Service. But this is something. Secret Service now unable to identify a suspect in the case of Ronald McDonald's missing hamburgers. Now, if you look closely behind that flag,
I see. It looks like, is that the Hamburglar?
And I mean, this is the Babylon Bee, but Terrance, is it far from reality when there's Coke in the White House and people are saying there were fingerprints on the baggie and other evidence, and there are suspects who have had issues with this?
It's still unbelievable that the Secret Service, which is one of the country's top investigative bodies, has not been able to determine, or publicly is saying that it has not come up with the suspect in this particular case. It's just hard to believe. It's hard to fathom. I mean, let's be honest. This is an agency that started off as an economics crimes agency. Basically, they were looking into counterfeiting, and that's still part of people's mission. You think of the Secret Service, and you think of protective details for the president and that kind of thing, but this is still an agency that largely has a mission of investigation, and that this investigatory body isn't able to find a suspect or identify a suspect. Again, that's what they're saying publicly. It's just hard to fathom, hard to believe.
They have the fingerprints. I mean, and I keep going back to what Cash said yesterday. There were a couple things I picked up on when Cash was talking. And one of the things he was talking about this plea bargain and whether or not they would offer this to somebody who wasn't an active addict. And I keep going back
Hunter's plea bargain at the end of this month. He's going into court in Delaware next week. Yeah, that's right.
What's up with that?
And if he had used again and it violated, the parts of the plea's blown up, which critics already want to blow up because they say he should not get a slap on the wrist. He should actually face potentially prison time for tax crimes, drug crimes, and the rest of it.
And to your point, it could still happen. The judge still has some discretion here, and the judge could refuse the deal. We don't expect that to happen, but there's the possibility. What do they say? Hope springs eternal. So hopefully we will get justice and
some accountability and justice.
Accountability, absolutely.
And we're going to have new details that are spilling out of the FBI in a minute where there might be other potential crimes for the Bidens, Hunter and Joe.
Are we ever going to get to the bottom of those, though? I mean, where are we at?
I certainly hope so. Speaking of Joe Biden, looked a little confused. He gave a speech in Philadelphia. Here's your Daily Joe getting lost. Watch. Okay, so he's going that way. No, wait. Okay. It's the other way. If some of it is just cues, which it's not, they have to be able to tell the man, this is the way you're going to walk. This happens every other day.
What is he doing over here, too? He's like this, like there's nobody there. What is he looking at? What's he doing?
Wait, there's nobody there?
There's nobody there.
That might be the key. There's nobody there. There's nobody home.
And you know what? Here's what's also concerning is the indecisiveness. You're the president, so wherever you go, Secret Service is going to follow you. If you just make a decision and you decide that you're going to exit stage right, the Secret Service is going to respond, and it doesn't seem like you're indecisive. It doesn't seem like you're so lost. And I just wonder during meetings that are behind closed doors whether we also are seeing this sort of indecision. I suspect so.
And just utter confusion. You just see him. He's wandering constantly.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it's the same behind. It's probably worse behind closed doors.
Oh, no doubt about it. Because we've talked and doctors have talked about medication that he would be given before a public event to try to make sure he could stay as focused.
With the Israeli Prime Minister the other day.
Absolutely. Talk about confusion. Terrance,
seriously.
I'm sorry, I'm just chuckling about the whole idea of medicine giving before a meeting to stay focused. I can think of one medicine that was found. It was a bit more illicit, but it supposedly helps stay focused. I don't
Does
know
that keep you
personally.
focused? Yeah,
Supposedly,
I don't know either.
helps
You know
keep
all
you
the
up.
slang, though, so that's all I know. You know the slang. There you go. I think you're talking about the cocaine at the White House.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm confused about what's happening there in Colorado. You were gloating about the Rockies taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Did you see? It appears like the scoreboard operator, there's something wrong with him. And this person posted, whoever runs it is not okay. And they usually do game notes about the game, Karyn, but the other day, using a stethoscope to listen to the heart, cardiologists can detect narrow valves over the... Don't bother asking them to check your heart, though, Becky. That crushed Titanic sub, and people didn't like the joke about the people dying, has more life inside it than that collapsed troll cave you call a chest cavity or a heart.
Who's Becky?
Is there a bad breakup going on?
What's happening?
For the Rockies scoreboard operator, because now people have done some digging, and there was another game note earlier this season, quote, most Coloradans experience sweater weather up to 6 months a year, except my ex-girlfriend who probably needs a cardigan year-round because of her ice cube of a heart. Seriously, Becky, your insides are so frozen. At this point, you should just change your name to Elsa. Ooh. Frozen, right? Is that from the...
Wow.
Yeah, that's from Frozen.
Is this real, or is this just somebody trying to get attention? Is this real? Is this real?
Yeah, if it
happens
is,
on the scoreboard.
I know, but...
This guy needs a hug and a 10-piece chicken nugget. After a win, he can get one for free from McDonald's. I almost feel like I'm making a commercial
to
for
be a viral moment.
I don't know. Maybe they're doing it on purpose. All right, let's get serious about Joe Biden and the bribes and all the rest of it. So Senator Chuck Grassley got very serious about this. We've seen James Comer in the House. A $10 million bribe file released by the senator in which a Burisma chief, which is the energy company in Ukraine that Hunter was, quote unquote, working for, said, the chief, he was coerced to pay Joe and, quote unquote, stupid Hunter in brand new bombshell allegations.
Wow.
The owner of the Burisma company in late 2015, Karyn, or early 2016, during a meeting in Kyiv, said that it cost, quote, $5 million to pay one Biden and $5 million to pay another Biden.
$10 million.
Yeah, 5 plus 5.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Here's the file. So, A, why has the FBI been sitting on this for years? And B, how are we not getting what you both were talking about a minute ago? Accountability. I mean, forget for a second this plea deal that Hunter has next week that's a slap on the wrist. What about the crimes alleged in this FBI file, Terrance?
No, and that's the point. The FBI has apparently been sitting on this for at least a year or so, says Senator Chuck Grassley. He's just releasing this information yesterday. But to his release, he's saying, look, this is information the American people should have had long ago, and now finally I'm getting it to you. But how much confidence can anyone have, specifically the American people, if the FBI sat on this? Now that we have this information that's out in the public, will the FBI actually act on this? And that's the question.
That's a big question. I mean, right now it seems like, no, they're not going to.
Yeah, well, our viewers have questions. Owen wrote me very early this morning. Our team got it in there. Ed, one question comes to mind. When did Jack Smith, the special counsel, find out that this FBI form was coming out? Is that why the target letter was sent out, Karyn, to Donald Trump on Sunday?
Oh.
Or did I just go down a rabbit hole, Karyn? That's literally what Owen wrote.
Yeah.
Terrance Bates, your thoughts as well. Karyn first.
I was going to say the timing is impeccable, and we've seen this before, so it wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, and we tend to always see anytime something bombshell comes out about the Biden family, it seems to coincide with some sort of new information or some sort of new allegation against President Trump. Yesterday, by the way, Thursday, was the 4-day deadline that was given in that letter for President Trump to appear before the grand jury. It appears he did not. However, some other staff members from the White House staff during the time of January 6th did appear, and we'll talk a bit more about that. But it's all very interesting. Timing is always interesting when it comes to new allegations.
Right. Biden's about to get popped with this FBI file, so let's go after Trump yet again.
Popped. I like the term.
Yeah.
I like the use of the term.
Oh, all right.
That's good.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you thought it was a cocaine investigation reference or just popped. I just thought he's about to get popped in the, he got smacked around here. This FBI file is damaging, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again, I think it's damaging not just to the Biden family, but also damaging to the FBI. The fact that they've had this information, and we've seen it time and time again, but it just continues to be a narrative. It continues to be a pattern where the FBI has information and is apparently not doing its job in terms of investigating and following up on that information.
Yeah, but like nobody's doing their job. Secret Service, FBI. I mean, we go on and on and on.
Okay, but then what about the Democrats? Okay, I get you want to protect the Democrat president, but at what point? How do they sleep at night? How do you not say, "Hey, we do have questions
Do they have
here"?
to sleep? Does evil sleep? Does evil sleep?
I know some evil people. I don't know if they sleep. I will tell you, Hakeem Jeffries, as his FBI file was spilling out, is asked about interference from the Justice Department and Merrick Garland, who swore under oath months and months ago and said they would never interfere with the Hunter or Joe investigations. Here's what Jeffries said. He doesn't care. He doesn't want accountability. Watch.
We have every reason to believe that there was not a scintilla of political interference as it relates to the charging decisions made by a Trump-appointed prosecutor with respect to the Hunter Biden case.
There's not one scintilla of evidence. Can someone show him the FBI files? Can someone, Terrance, show the House Democrat leader hours of testimony by IRS and FBI whistleblower? There is evidence.
It's there.
Oh.
They want to ignore it.
The evidence is there, and I think now we're at the point where we need to move to accountability, and that includes the prosecutor, the U.S. attorney there in Delaware. He's got some questions to answer. There are some serious questions being raised about what he was able to do, whether he in fact dropped the ball, and I think they're fair questions that need to be asked and need to be answered.
Yeah.
I also wonder how Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz from here in South Florida sleep at night. So she's part of this hearing yesterday on censorship, okay? And House Democrats tried to censor RFK Jr., who's a Democrat last I checked.
Yeah.
Democrats
You can't
try to
challenge
stop
the system. You can't challenge a system.
And Colin Rugg points this out, that his rant, a 5-minute rant, we're going to play part of it, came as House Democrats tried censoring Kennedy at a hearing about government censorship.
It's unbelievable. It really is.
So they say, we're not censoring anyone, but we don't want him to talk about how Facebook and Twitter wouldn't let him bash the vaccines and all the rest of it.
You know, even if he's a Democrat, you have to give him credit for the fact that at least he's willing to challenge this, because the world is so insane right now.
He's got guts. Here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Don't misuse my words.
It's the witness's time. Do not censor the witness.
I'm not censoring the witness. I'm not censoring the witness. He's still talking.
It's my time, and I've given it to the witness. Do not censor him.
I'm not censoring him.
If the views that you and others have applied to me, I've attributed to me, if they were actually true, I can see why I shouldn't be able to testify here today. Those are not true. These are defamations and malignancies that are used to censor me, to prevent people from listening to the actual things that I'm saying. And I think, ranking member, that we should have a real conversation rather than an exchange of ad hominem attacks. And answer very quickly to your question, the term malinformation was coined to describe information that Facebook and Twitter and the other social media sites understood was true, but that the White House and other federal agencies wanted censored anyway for political reasons because it challenged official orthodoxies.
Karyn, they're at a censorship hearing that the Republicans all say Biden and the Democrats are censoring people on big tech, working with them. You can't say anything about the vaccines on social media. RFK Jr. was taken off YouTube with his videos. And they say, no, that's all false. That's BS. But we want to censor you. Let's have a vote to muzzle him.
It really, I mean, it's cancerous. Malignancies is the right word, because this is cancerous. Like, the left is a cancer. It absolutely is. And the rhinos are a cancer, too.
We're going to get to the rhinos. We're going to have a special Rhino Stone Award coming up. And you're going to love that. But your thoughts, Terrance?
No, I'm just thinking that, they're using the guise of, well, he shouldn't be speaking here because of some previous statements he made that we disagree with. Well, that is the definition definition of censorship. Like, whether you agree with the man or not, he still has a right to speak, particularly on this issue. And to try to push him to the side because you don't like other things or you feel like he's made irresponsible statements recently, that's just silly.
Yeah. Meanwhile, real prices for our viewers are up about 16.6%, I believe, since Joe Biden took office. He comes out yesterday, and we saw him wander off stage. But before he had trouble with that, he had some trouble with the facts. He said Bidenomics are just fine. Watch.
It's the lowest point in inflation, the lowest point in over 2 years.
We're at the lowest point.
It is. It's a low point.
It's a low point for him?
It's a low point. It's a low point right now as a country.
Nice.
Yeah, if you have to go to a shipyard to make a speech, it's probably because you're trying to hide from people. I mean, let's just be honest. If you're at the shipyard,
maybe you're drowning. Maybe you're drowning.
I'm drowning, or I'm going to get on the next thing floating.
There you go.
Wow.
Why don't we get to Jesus Calling?
Yeah, let's do that. Jesus Calling this morning. Rest in my presence when you need refreshment. Resting is not necessarily idleness, as people often perceive it. When you relax in my company, you are demonstrating trust in me. Trust is a rich word laden with meaning and direction for your life. I want you to lean on, trust, and be confident in me. When you lean on me for support, I delight in your trust and confidence. And this comes from Psalm 91:1. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty.
That is a beautiful way to get this day going. Terrance, I know you got a couple headlines.
Yeah, there's a bill out right now that would impose an ethics code on Supreme Court justices. It's moving to the full U.S. Senate for debate now. That measure made it out of the Senate Judiciary Committee along a party line vote Thursday. It would require the justices on the high court to make specific financial disclosures and to recuse themselves from cases where they may have a conflict of interest. In order to win passage in the full Senate, the bill would have to pick up some Republican support, which seems unlikely at this point. Ethics concerns have been raised recently amid accusations of justices accepting lavish trips and real estate deals, as well as pressuring schools to buy their books in return for speaking engagements. We are expecting new information during a briefing today about the deadly ambush-style shooting of a police officer during a traffic stop in Fargo, North Dakota. We already know the accused killer had 1,800 rounds of ammunition in the car with him, along with numerous firearms and a grenade. Police say the 37-year-old shooter happened to be passing those officers who were on the scene of a car crash. The guy allegedly stopped and watched the officers and firefighters working that scene before he began firing at them out of his car window. Police call it, quote, an absolute ambush and a murderous barrage of fire. By the time it was all done, 23-year-old officer Jake Wallen was dead. 2 other officers and a woman involved in the crash were hurt. The shooter was ultimately shot and killed by another officer. And Florida is out with new guidelines for how teachers in the Sunshine State will shed light on the history of Black Americans in this country. The new curriculum includes what are being called benchmark clarifications that are age appropriate. But one of the more controversial parts of the 216-page rule book includes teaching that slaves learned useful skills that could be used for their personal benefit. Florida's education commissioner says nothing has been removed from the traditional teachings of history, which includes the good, bad, and the ugly. In the meantime, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Jacksonville, Florida today, criticizing the state's new standards. The White House says her trip is meant to, quote, protect fundamental freedoms, specifically the freedom to learn and teach America's full and true history. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'll have more headlines coming your way here in just a little bit. Ed and Karyn?
Terrance, unfortunately, pardon me, I'm losing my voice because I'm so sad about what I have to tell you. As I'm in the live chat as you're reporting the headlines. And Josh from Denver, you know him, right? He's a sad Miami Dolphins fan, but he works in Denver, does a great job with the whole team there. You earlier said that you were not sure about that burger with fries as a birthday cake. Josh says in the live chat that 6K burger, let's put it up, is just a snack for Terrance.
Oh, wow. Really, Josh? That's what we're doing in public, too? Around
this is
friends?
what we're headed into the weekend on. Do you guys live near each other? Is there beef? You get that beef? Is there beef?
I do get the beef. Well, according to Josh, apparently not, because I eat it all. So I guess not. That's a little too much for me, though.
These guys
seriously.
have some fun. They're teasing each other.
I love cheese, but I have to say that it does not look appetizing at all when they pour that cheese over that burger.
I kind of agree with you that it looks like it's a little too much.
And you know I love cheese. I was disappointed when I saw that.
I actually had a great burger for lunch yesterday on Palm Beach Island, but tried to get get rid of the bun. There's a lot of calories there. And then you pour all that cheese on. I don't know.
So did you do like a lettuce burger? Did you do it in a lettuce wrap? Is that what you?
Lettuce burger's good. Yeah.
Oh, it was
a
all
lettuce
beef.
veggie burger even better.
No veggie burger. No. It was all beef. It's my birthday, man. Come on, you got to go all out. And then I walked a couple miles. Although I'm walking a lot less right now because it's hot.
It is hot.
It's too hot. So you walk a little less. You try to get the exercise in. Terrance, I'm sorry they're teasing you, but I think they're having fun. They love you. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come on back. We got so much more coming up. On the way out, 81 million votes. My ass. Carrie Lake and the Truth Bombers. Download and stream it right now. MailmanMediaMusic.com.
We're living on planet crazy.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Give me this one.
Hit me. I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. If you haven't woke
all right, it's Tony Machado with
46 problems, but
problems.
The truth ain't one.
The truth ain't one. How about that, Lowe's Alexander? Check that out as well at mailmanmediamusic.com. Karyn, we talked about how Trump was right. We're going to do some of that at the top of the next hour. But I want you to see what's happening out in Hollywood. This is unbelievable. They got the strike out there, and they like to tell us what's going on. Kevin Dalton is out in California and exposes this. There's a school there completely engulfed by a homeless encampment. And you could see it. Kids are trying to go through this. Kids have to navigate blocked sidewalks, the filth. We know what happens on these sidewalks in L.A. and San Francisco. Drugs, naked, nudity and indecency, stray dogs, needles, all the rest of it. Here's a quick soundbite about what's really going on in Gavin Newsom's state.
A lively scene on Selma Avenue tonight. This large homeless encampment blocking the sidewalk on either side, spilling into the street. The number of tents outside of Larchmont Charter School continues to grow.
There's needles on the ground. Also, there's a lot of broken glass. You're getting catcalled. You're getting people that have mental illness. You're seeing profanity. Sometimes you see people naked running around.
The Hollywood encampment lines Selma Park, which neighbors say has now been overrun by those experiencing homelessness.
It looks like a junkyard on our block, and it's just not safe. There's dogs there. We don't feel comfortable. The other day, a neighbor's dog got attacked in the neighborhood.
They almost burnt down the back half of our historic office there.
Last month, we showed you this picture of students having to dodge tents by walking in the street.
Image there at the end.
Wow, at the end. That was heartbreaking. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what are these kids seeing, right? We know. And they're saying there's feces on the ground, there's homeless folks. And I'm not beating up on the homeless. I want them to get them to a shelter, do something about it. They can't be camped out in front of a school with drugs and needles.
No, and can you imagine these kids then go in the school and are being indoctrinated? So they're on their way there,
Right.
witnessing all of this, and then they're being read a story by a drag queen at school.
I didn't even think of that
in
part.
California.
And you just took it to another
True.
level. It's outrageous. And Gavin Newsom, people think, oh, maybe he'll come in and save the day for Democrats, and he'll do what he's doing in California for the rest
Look
of the
what he's
country.
doing.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
How about that? The headlines are sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
I mean, there you go. That's what Karyn brings to the show, right? So we're talking about the facts out there on the street, and it's important. And she says, but what about drag time story hour? There she's right.
These kids are going to be so screwed up. Can you imagine walking through a war zone to get to school, and then you get to school and you're not taught, the American ideals that we were taught back in the day? You're taught, drag queens and transgender and all of these things.
And
these
the
kids
clip
are
we
going to be just mentally ill. It's
The
going
clip
to
we
be sad.
played yesterday about the teacher talking about, or camp counselor about non-binary week. That's what they're learning about instead of reading, writing, arithmetic, and American values, as you mentioned.
And even to your point, I'm wondering if kids, after having to deal with that just to get to school, how long does it take them to be able to focus on what's happening inside the school and just the reading, writing, and arithmetic that you talked about when you have to fight through needles and people catcalling you and indecency just to get to school? That's got to be a difficult situation for any kid to try to transition into an actual school day from. So, sad.
Tragic.
It is absolutely
Unbelievable. I know you have some other headlines, Terrance.
Yeah, that's right. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says that first son Hunter Biden could soon be facing between 6 and 10 criminal referrals following this week's public testimony from 2 IRS whistleblowers. It is the next step in Congress's ongoing investigation into allegations of bribery and corruption against Hunter, President Biden, and the Biden family at large. In the meantime, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley is out with a never-before-seen FBI document that claims Ukrainian oligarch and founder of the Ukrainian energy company on whose board the first son sat was, quote, coerced into sending Hunter and Mr. Biden money. The FD 1023, says Mykola Zlochevsky participated in a phone call following the 2016 presidential election, during which he claims he was, quote, pushed to pay the Bidens even though he didn't want to send the money.
Now it's up to the FBI to tell us what they've done in regard to this. But I want the people to be able to read, the people of this country, to be able to read what I read 3 months ago so that they know. By the way, this was an unclassified document, and there was no reason it should have taken 1 year to get our hands on this document so the American people can read it.
As Hunter Biden prepares for next week's court hearing, where he's expected to accept a plea deal on tax and guns charges, the House Oversight Committee is pressing the FBI over Hunter's laptop and the agency's alleged cover-up of information related to the authenticity of reporting about that computer. In this letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray on Thursday, the committee points to an interview with Laura Demloff, who is the section chief of the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force, during which she apparently revealed that the FBI investigators who were warning social media companies about Hunter Biden's laptop story being Russian disinformation knew that was a lie. Quote, according to information available to the committee, the FBI confirmed the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop in November of 2019 and gained possession of the laptop in December of 2019. In the 9 months leading up to the 2020 election, the FBI met over 30 times with social media platforms, all while in possession of Hunter Biden's laptop. Online response to this new information is coming in hot and heavy, with one poster writing, listen to this. So now what? Nice information gathering letter with a beautiful seal, but the GOP doesn't seem to be able to impeach or hold anyone accountable. The DOJ works for Biden. They also are not willing to hold the president accountable, and they are again interfering in an election by indicting Trump endlessly. Vote to defund the agency and speak to your Senate counterparts, he writes. Well, that's going to do it for your headlines. These headlines brought to you by AMAC.
All right. Terrance, do you like Subway?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
He's like,
yes,
yeah.
Of course.
Apparently, Josh is saying you love, but anyway, that's Josh. Let's put it up, Gateway Pundit. What a story this is. So CNN a couple days ago, after we heard that Jack Smith, wait, Terrance is walking away.
I'm here. I'm here.
Happening?
I was having a problem with my chair, and I was trying to fix it while I was off air.
So Jack Smith sends a Target letter Sunday night, and then like on Monday, he went to Subway to get a $5 sub.
Okay.
Right? Don't people go?
I didn't even know they still had them. So Thank God.
CNN followed him out of his office, I guess, and they said, boy, he's really sending a message, Karyn, to Donald Trump. He went for a $5 sandwich, and here's the video. And that's Jack Smith, the bearded dude with the bag. This happens in like downtown West Palm Beach. It happens in downtown Denver.
But are there still $5 sandwiches at Subway?
I think once
in Biden-inflation world.
Well, that's a good point. I will tell you, the Jimmy John's down the street, literally a sub is like $15.
$17.
Yeah. But watch this clip from John King. Respect his reporting. I've known him a long time, but he thinks that Jack Smith going to get a Subway sandwich, it means something. It means that it's a bad message. He's
hungry. The man was hungry.
He might have wanted lunch.
The man wants a sandwich.
This is CNN. Watch.
And just one last point. Jack Smith, remember when the classified documents Target letter, when Trump announced that, there was a lot of commentary. Is Jack Smith making a mistake here? Is he leaving this all to Donald Trump? And then they released the indictment, and we all said, wow. Wow. We read it. We saw the documentation. We saw the level of detail. Jack Smith going to Subway today is a message to Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump tries to intimidate people. He tries to bully people. He tries to scare you away. That was Jack Smith with no words and a $5 sub in his hand saying, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, the imagery was intentional and spoke volume.
Wait. The imagery spoke for itself?
Yeah.
Was he going to, whip Donald Trump with a bag? I mean, what were they looking for here? What were they thinking?
You're saying mean stuff about me on Truth Social. I'm going to get my $5 sub, and I'm going to take you on, Terrance. Did you see that message? I don't know if I missed something.
I think they read into that a little bit, grasping for straws, trying to make a story out of it. I suspect the guy was hungry. He and his team went to get something to eat really quickly and went back to work.
Lunchtime.
I mean... I think reading anything beyond that is a little too much.
Yeah, a lot too much.
Absolutely. So what do you read into this, right? Democrats have told us for a long time. Republicans, Donald Trump, you're so mean to illegal immigrants, right? There's only good things that comes out of immigration, right? This diversity is at the heart of the country, and we got to welcome all of these folks, right?
Sure, and they're going to then bus them around to different places.
But if you don't welcome them, you're a racist, right? Well, now there's a mayor in New York City named Eric Adams who's saying, we got no room at the inn. Don't come here. So is he a racist? Watch.
We stated several months ago that we have reached full capacity. And that full capacity was verbalized, and now New York is just going to be visually actualized. We're going to see how much of our cup has basically runneth over. We have no more room in the city, and we need help.
Karyn, what happened to the Statue of Liberty? They would read that to Donald Trump and say, give us your poor, give us your tired, give us your hungry. And now the new Democrat line is, our cup has runneth over. Get out.
It's unbelievable. I mean, Eric Adams is such a failure in every single way. This man campaigned on Law and Order. Look at him. He's a mess.
Terrance,
he looks beaten down.
I'm being honest. We were told Donald Trump wanted to build a wall. He said, keep the illegal immigrants out. He's a racist, right? I'm playing by their rule. That's their rule.
When he would mention Mexico, they would say that was racist. You can't say Mexico. Don't say Mexico.
So here we are. And now the Democrats see up close that it's not so simple and that it creates all kinds of problems and we need to enforce the law. So your chance to respond.
I'm just going to say I think Democrat cities are now seeing the issues that are happening to those cities directly on the border that are overrun by migrants. Now these Democrat cities are having to deal with similar things, which again goes to prove that every city in this country is now a border city or a border town because the issues are being felt there. And what I also find interesting that hasn't really been reported publicly is that the city of New York has actually sent flyers to the border. They are handing out flyers on the border saying, don't come to New York. Here's some other alternatives, but don't come to New York. Our cup has runneth over, or excuse me, our shelters have runneth over. But these are issues that, again, many of these towns along the border have been dealing with for years and have been arguing that something needs to be done. And now some of these larger cities like New York are also dealing with those very same issues and handling it in similar ways.
So what happened to welcoming everybody?
Well, when your cup runneth over.
It's not convenient for him anymore.
There you go. When your cup runneth over, right? You pour it out.
You pour it out. We'll take a quick break. We've established that Terrance might like a burger and fries. What about Mitt Romney? What's his favorite lunch? And we know that Jack Smith likes Subway. Mitt Romney's got a very interesting choice for lunch. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more after a quick break. Cocaine on the way out.
Trying to stay woke, so stay.
That's right, Bidenflation across the nation. Not Bidenomics that are working. Bidenflation, 81 million votes. You can stream it, download it at mailmanmediamusic.com. Still a song that's still rocking. People are still streaming it.
It's a great song.
Absolutely great. Talking to Carrie Lake about number 2. We got to come up with another one. By the way, in the live chat on GetRC, people in Rumble as well, Stacy T And Getter says, I love my Rav Gang with an American flag and about 4 or 5 heart emojis. The Rav Gang, love it.
The Rav Gang. She was talking about July birthdays earlier, too.
Oh, really?
A lot of July birthdays in the chat.
I didn't notice that. Well, happy birthday to everyone out there, and thanks for making my day very special yesterday. I'll tell you one way to make your life special. The Wellness Company. By the way, I didn't notice, but Dr. Naomi Wolf, who came back yesterday, and
she looked fabulous.
I was checking her social media, and she's been all in on the Wellness Company. So take it from her, not us. She's been all over this with the Pfizer documents. You see right there, twc.health/RAV. Here's the spike support, big and beautiful in the middle there, to deal with all those spike proteins. Dr. McCullough's healthy heart and muscle formula on the left is also important. They've got the restful sleep formula. Spike support, have you had a chance?
I'm going to take it again.
I will
do
tell
on the
you
show
that,
every day.
there you go. I do think that what Dr. Wolf was saying yesterday about spike proteins having an incredible impact on young men and their ability to reproduce is something that is incredible and shocking, since so many young people, and people of all ages, but young people in particular, get out there, get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And she was retweeting, we talked to Dr. Wolf about this yesterday, a doctor who was out there saying that he's advising young women who want to have children, don't date, don't marry young men who have been vaccinated, because they don't believe they're going to, over time, be able to reproduce. And that's, did anybody warn these young men about that?
No, everything was safe. They
It's
convinced
unbelievable.
everybody it was okay.
So the folks at the Wellness Company are trying to help bring back your medical freedom and stand up to the government propaganda. And so we support that, and we appreciate them being a partner. In the meantime, let's bring back a segment we have not done in a while.
Oh.
It's time for a Rhino Stone Award. All right, so we had a little fun with Terrance and burgers, and I'm going to give him a chance to respond after we show this video. And then CNN is trying to read into what's going on with Special Counsel Jack Smith and Subway subs. Mitt Romney celebrating National Hot Dog Day. How bizarre. I love hot dogs, but the video, it captures Mittens so well.
Oh, I can't wait.
Watch.
Well, as you all know, today is National Hot Dog Day, and perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat. I love hot dogs. I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best, best meat there is, without question. So to all of you who, like me, are celebrating National Hot Dog Day, congratulations to you, and may there be many, many more hot dogs served in our wonderful land.
Is it really a meat, though?
Okay, so a lot of questions. Karen, you have the first question.
Is it a meat? It's a
he
meat
said it's
product.
the best meat.
A meat.
You know what it's made of? I don't want to say it because you can't use some of the words, but they say that it's not the best part of the animal. Let's say that.
And there are various
parts. Is
There are various.
I
would say it's meat parts put into a sleeve and put into a sleeve and cooked.
Okay, I got another question.
Or a casing, I guess one should say a casing.
Casing. So is a hot dog that's put in a bun, do you call it, is it a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog in a bun. It's a hot dog.
Okay, because this is a great debate on the internet. Because you take like bread with other meat or meat products, Spam or whatever, and you call it a sandwich. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Well, it's because Spam isn't that
but
new.
it's not on bread, it's on a roll.
Well, it's a bun.
It's a hot dog roll, though.
A bun is bread.
It's a bun. I know, but it's not.
Okay, when you go to Publix and you want to buy hot dog buns, which aisle is it in?
I mean, it's in the bread aisle.
Okay.
But it's a bun.
But it's bread.
But it's not. But it's a bun.
Okay, so she says it's not bread. She says a hot dog's not meat. And she says a hot dog's not a sandwich. So she's got no on all those. What do you think?
Burgers are technically considered sandwiches, right?
I would think, right?
I don't know about that. I think it's a burger.
You just call it a burger.
It's not a sandwich. Now, a Philly cheesesteak is a sandwich. Philly cheesesteak, that's a sandwich.
Philly cheesesteak. There you go.
Sandwich.
All right.
Well,
so
in Philly, it's a hoagie. But no, I'm just messing with they call them hoagies.
I just think there's probably bigger things to focus on. I know he's probably tackling other issues. But Mitt Romney, congratulations. You win our Rhino Stone Award today. There you go. Usually there's some booing and hissing. Why don't we just do that for him? All right. Boo. Yeah, there you go. Karen was very negative on all of it. Not a meat. right? Not bread.
Not a fan of Mitt Romney's
and
either.
Not a fan of Mitt Romney, and not a sandwich. So pretty much 4 no's.
Yeah, 4 no's.
So, Karyn, I know you typically, I'm sure you wouldn't eat a regular hot dog, but you would eat a veggie hot dog?
I've had them. They're underwhelming. I'm not big on hot dogs or even the veggie hot dog. It's just I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Okay. All right, let's move on. There you go. Understand. And hot dog to me is just like kind of a rare thing. 4th of July, picnic, or whatever.
Really?
The fact that he's like every day, like this is my thing. It's my go-to.
This is my meat.
It says, it's perfect. I don't want to overstate it, but it's perfect for Mitt Romney. The idea that that's his favorite meat is funny. Because there's a lot of other.
It's like a carnival. It's like a circus.
It's a clown show. He's talking about becoming a Democrat. People are saying he's a Democrat already, Terrance. Anyway, let's move on to something a little bit bigger, which is cancel culture now coming for a great patriot in Jason Aldean. And the market's responding, by the way. His song is #1 on iTunes. So CMT just canceled his music video. This was a couple days ago about the Antifa and BLM riots. And Jack Posobiec was saying, you know what to do. John Rich has been saying that. President Trump said it, and he got it to #1 as a song. So what happened is he filmed this new song, the video for it. Try that in a small town. Like try to bring these BLM riots to a small town, and we'll show you that we're part of America and we're not going to deal with that. But the left is saying, Karyn, that it's pro-lynching because he filmed this outside a courthouse where a white mob hanged Henry Choate in 1927. And so they're trying to say that he's promoting lynching. You can see the video there. And
this is the most ridiculous thing. Has anybody, I'm sure a lot of our audience has listened to the lyrics of the song, but in the song he talks about try carjacking somebody in a small town, we're going to stand up for our neighbors. That's the whole theme of the song.
It is. And you can see it's mixed with footage from the Summer of Love, as the left called it. And it wasn't love. It was smashing small businesses, killing people, harming people. You see the fires. Remember the CNN and MSNBC?
This is all real. This is
real footage. But Terrance, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't get the lynching reference. I don't understand that. When I first read this story, I was trying to figure out where that came from. And I think the larger story here, or the larger message from this song, is that small towns, that real America, not these big metropolises, but kind of these smaller American towns are so close-knit. And when things happen in those towns that are violent or that are anti-society, that the people of these communities come together and that they protect their own. And I think that's the larger message, that we need to be protecting our own communities, whatever it is, when something comes into our community that we don't necessarily like or that threatens our communities.
Yeah, in fact, here's a little clip, I think, of the video. Watch.
That my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town full of good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town.
And it's interesting because John Rich has been tweeting that CMT, the country music channel, they put this video out, I think, in May. They didn't say it, but then the left started complaining, and so they yank it in July.
Yeah.
So the video was not pro-lynching when it first came out, but then when the left said
it was when they found out that the courthouse had this history and they were able to cancel Jason Aldean. It was a convenient narrative, wasn't it?
And they're not canceling because he's #1. Pat Boone, the gospel legend, rose to his defense, was saying, look, patriotism is what it's about, and that's been a theme, and you see that in the New York Post, where Pat Boone said patriotism has been a theme for a lot of country stars. Let's listen to a little clip from Pat Boone.
Pat, what is happening to country music?
It's gotten sick. I can't believe it's country music. I'm thinking about Trace Adkins, and of course, many of those songs were they were very supportive of opposing America's enemies. What we're not taking into account is that many of our enemies are in our own house. And they're in our own countries, in our own streets. I live in a small town called Beverly Hills. And believe it or not, just up the street not long ago, broad daylight, 3 hoodlums broke into a house up the street, and the police had to remove us from our house while they searched because 2 of the criminals.
And they've actually had a crime wave in Beverly Hills. They know it might sound, well, they're rich people or whatever, but they deserve to be safe in their homes. Absolutely. And he went on to say that the police, when one of the hoodlums got loose, Pat Boone was a neighbor, and he called another neighbor who he describes as a tough little Italian lady named Josephine, who had taken some shooting lessons and had a gun sitting in her lap. He said he alerted Josephine, who quipped she hoped the suspect would break into her home next.
Oh, I love her.
That's what happens in a small town.
She sounds like a great neighbor.
Beverly Hills is a small town, ain't it?
You're right. I thought that was pretty funny. I live in a little small town named Beverly Hills. Not quite the picture I have in my mind of a small town, but I get the point.
Beverly Hills it is, right? There was a show about that.
Oh, yeah, there was. The Beverly Hillbillies.
There you go. By the way, in our live chat, a lot of people commenting on the hot dogs. Bread of Life, one of our great friends, says that Mitt Romney has a way with baloney.
Oh,
that's a good way to
that was good.
There you go. I appreciate that. We'll take a quick break. We'll back with Stay Awake, Not Woke, right after this.
46 problems, but the truth ain't one. Hit me. I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. If you having woke problems, I feel bad for you, bruh. I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. Hit me.
Nobody believes Biden got 81 million votes. We just called it out and did it in a new way. And hats off to Carrie Lake and the Truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking at the live chat. There's a lot happening. I mean, first of all, Citizen D saying Beverly Hills does not count as a small town. It's full of idiots. Other than Pat Boone. He's a good dude. I know some other folks there who are nice as well. And Steven says Josephine, the nice Italian lady with the gun, rocks. There were a lot of people saying. And obviously responsibly, but we have a Second Amendment. And if hoodlums, as he described them, want to break into people's homes in small towns, that doesn't usually work.
I need Josephine as a neighbor. I want Josephine.
There you go. And now you have breaking news.
Yeah, I have breaking news too. Apparently, if you take your hot dog slice and you slice it in half and then you put it on 2 pieces of bread, it becomes a sandwich, according to Mike
If you put it on
McCallum.
like Wonder Bread instead
Yep.
of a bun.
And
But
you cut it in half.
I still disagree with you. I think a bun is bread. But in the meantime, we have some more.
It's a bun.
Which is bread.
It's a bun.
Right, which is bread. We've got some breaking news. All right, let's bring in Terrance from our Denver newsroom. Looks like a iconic singer has passed.
That's right, Tony Bennett, 96 years old, just passing away in New York City. At this point, there's no word, guys, how he passed away or what led to his death, but we do know that he has been suffering from Alzheimer's since about 2016, and his health had been in decline ever since then. But again, sad news to report this morning, the entertainment world mourning Tony Bennett, dead at 96 years old.
Incredible. All these
96, God
Italian
bless.
American
Yeah.
crooners, Frank Sinatra over the years, obviously Vic Damone, my dear friend, and now Tony Bennett as well, all passing. He lived right by Central Park and used to walk around there and paint. He was a big painter as well and would paint scenes of people walking in Central Park. And we're going to miss. What a voice, but it will live on for a long time. Absolutely. In the meantime, let's get to a segment we call Stay Awake, Not Woke. This is where we talk about simply the best coffee. I had it this morning, beardvet.com, use promo code RAV, and now the best energy drink. I know that Zen Jr. is telling people, the boss's son, that he now takes, and don't try this at home.
Okay.
But he cracks open in the morning a Red Bull, which has a lot of energy already, right? A lot of fuel.
Yeah, this doesn't sound safe. You told me about this earlier.
And then Terrance, he does 5 pumps. 5 pumps, not 1, 5.
Yeah, the recommended dosage is 1 pump, right?
The recommended dose, maybe 2. He says that it fuels his day, and he's getting a lot of work done. Our new studio is about to be ready to go.
I mean, that's great, but I'm worried. I mean, that's going to be a little hard on your system. That's a lot of caffeine.
Look, if his dad says it's okay, who are we to judge?
That's true.
In the meantime, how about staying awake, not woke? A U.S. Navy official, Robbie Starbuck, had this tweet in Bahrain, because there's obviously U.S. Navy personnel in this case. An official told sailors that they talked to their kids at the base at age 12, Karyn, about gender identity, sex, STDs, pregnancy, etc., without notifying parents. When asked if the Navy's policy circumvents a parent's right to know, the U.S. Navy official answered yes. Now, this is insane, as they say. We have a clip, but we're running short on time. I think the point is there without the soundbite. Karyn, here's my thing.
They defend this. I think that's the whole point, is that they actually believe that this is okay to circumvent parents. The left believes that this is fine, that they are in charge, that they are in control of our kids.
Yeah, I think you hit the central point. Terrance, I'm reading that initially. I thought, okay, 12 might be a little young, but given social media and Hollywood and what kids are seeing at a young age, it might be smart, even at a younger age than we learned, to teach them about STDs and pregnancy and whatnot. But notify the parents, right? Why are we going around the parents? And this is the U.S. government doing it. This is the military. You could say indoctrinate. Again, if it's real sex education, they need to know these things. But why are parents cut out? This is a theme, whether it's public schools or the U.S. military.
And it shows the audacity of these government agencies saying, yeah, we know that we're circumventing the parents. And it's basically, this response is basically, what you going to do about it? Yeah, I know what we're doing. We are absolutely doing it. What you going to do about it? The audacity for a government agency to have to do something like that, or to do something like that. And then you expect your workers to respect the uniform, to respect the agency. I find that difficult if you don't respect me as a parent.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just wild.
Lone Star Lady, real quick, guys. D6 says, Ed, we need a new genre in MAGA music. Seen some blues. We can call it Trump blues. MAGA. You can use the Democrats telling us why it's all Trump's fault. So you get it? Trump, like Democrats are having tantrums.
Tantrum.
Okay. Does that make sense?
I'm glad you explained it. I was trying to work that out. I'm with you, Karyn. I was like, okay, I don't get it. Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, it took me. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I got to explain things sometimes for the great team here that we respect so much. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break. We got a brand new hour coming up right after.
In this booth, I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. Hit me. I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one.
But to us, the big star would be the real American voices.
Jesus!
All right, yes. Lost his line there.
That's okay.
A very big thank you to Ed Henry and Karyn Turk and Terrance Bates on America's Sunrise. Watch America's Sunrise.
Patriots, welcome back to this American Sunrise.
Live from West Palm Beach, it's Friday.
All right.
And live from our Denver, Colorado studio. So good to see each and every one of you. Ed and Karyn, good morning and happy Friday.
Absolutely. You know what? With Tony Bennett passing, you just reported that a couple moments ago. I'm thinking about my dear friend Vic Damone, who once told me, I was talking to him about somebody who had wronged me, and he said, Ed, don't get revenge. In these situations, I leave it in God's hands.
I like that.
It's really wise advice, Vic. Then he paused and he said, sometimes God is Italian.
I love that.
And Vic Damone was a very proud Italian American. And I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to leave it at that, too. I'm just going to leave that one alone.
Carly Bonet doesn't leave anything on the table. She's all out there and loves to make these videos of Steve Bannon pushing back his hair. So she sent me a little birthday video I saw early this morning. I might have missed it in the first pass last night. So I thought I would throw it out there and show it to you. I just don't think I have the same mane, if you will, that Mr. Bannon has. Watch. So how nice is Carly with the hearts and all that? But I don't have enough hair for that. I mean, it's full, but it's not. I think
it's really good.
Bannon really lets it all hang out. You'll see it in the war room at 10 a.m.
It's a hot
Eastern.
video.
But, Carly Bonet, we first put those videos out there of her, Bannon. And then I think I saw that she was at Bedminster with Bannon for the screening of Sound of Freedom. All of a sudden, she's like an insider.
I love that.
How about that?
She deserves it.
I absolutely love it. And this is, in all, kidding aside, what the Rav family is all about. It's these folks. I mean, she started posting these videos. We put a couple on. She's been appreciative, and she digs in and really takes on the left, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But your thoughts, Terrance? Yeah, I hope you didn't think I was making fun of you about the hair. This was not about.
Oh, never. You would never do anything like that.
Really wasn't.
And I appreciate your luscious locks. So I'm glad she made that video.
There you go.
Luscious.
Luscious
Look,
locks.
they're doing
I
a
hadn't
little,
thought
they have a
about
little
it. Oh, they're
close
doing
up
a
of your
close-up?
hair.
How is that? I just got a haircut. My hair grows really fast, but I don't think it's as nice as Mr. Ben. Ben,
You have great hair.
Right.
You have great hair.
You know what? I went gray very early, but I'm very lucky that the family genes, I didn't, go bald.
Guys, if you put this shot up.
They did it. We didn't even tell him to do that. Look at his face. That's great.
It's great.
It's very cute. I love it.
Just remember, guys, I get to see you. You know, you have to come outside at some point in time. I'm already meeting one person at the playground after the show, so.
Josh, he says you
It's like cash
burgers.
me outside.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's get serious about Joe Biden and the Biden family crimes. That's what they are. Let's call it out. New York Post, FBI told Twitter Hunter Biden laptop, Karyn, was real on the day of the Post scoop. So now more documents keep coming out as the House Republicans have power. So remember when Twitter, the New York Post had the guts to go out there and say, here's the laptop right before the 2020 election. And big tech shut it down with the FBI's help. And we've heard about that. They did it at Facebook. They went to Zuckerberg. They went to Twitter pre-Elon Musk. And that was election interference, guys. And I'm pounding the table because it's unbelievable. And now
How much time has passed?
But
it's infuriating.
The newest thing is that the FBI, we now see from documents and testimony, was telling Twitter, yeah, this is real.
It's true.
It's not Russian disinformation. And so how is it that big tech got away with censoring that and interfering in the election between Trump and Biden, Terrance? And on top of that, what about those 51 Intel officials who lied?
They were all in bed together. All of these entities, they're all in bed together.
Other deep state folks, and said, this is Russian disinformation. Don't believe Donald Trump. Hunter didn't do this. And they lied.
So the information is now out there, and it's been for a while. We've got a number of corroboration of this information. And so the next step needs to be accountability. And that, I think, is the big question moving forward. Who is going to hold these agencies and the people who are responsible accountable? And what will Congress do and what can Congress do to enforce all of this and to make sure that there is accountability? And of course, Kash Patel has often said that it starts at the purse strings. It starts with tightening the purse strings and pulling money from these agencies and defunding them. Will Congress, in fact, do that? Will they have the guts to do
FBI,
that? We shall see.
DOJ.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're talking about it. And was it Matt Gaetz, you reported a couple days ago in the headlines, is talking about shutting down Jack Smith's special counsel investigation. That'd be another way. And this thing is out of control. They're talking about another indictment of Trump. It continues and continues. Last hour, we played a little from that video of Try That in a Small Town, Jason Aldean, who, by the way, I didn't mention it, but it's sort of self-explanatory, but let's just say it, right? The left went against him after CMT had the video up there since, I think, May. And then the left complains. But let's remember, Jason Aldean has been at Mar-a-Lago. He's friends with Donald Trump.
He's great.
He's played golf with him. And that's where...
It's a beautiful wife, Brittany.
Right.
They're great people.
And they've turned, the left has turned on him and the family because of Trump. But guess what? The MAGA marketplace, as we kind of loosely call it, is speaking. So look at this post here. Try That in a Small Town is a #1 song on iTunes. Sound of Freedom hit $100 million at the box office, which we talked about yesterday. Disney, Karyn, lost $900 million plus on their last 8 movie releases, and Disney World is empty. We've talked about that. The Wall Street Journal talked about how the amusement parks are empty, and they were offering 30-some-odd% off for Christmas, when normally kids and families go there to Disney. Bud Light and Target lost billions. We know that. The silent majority is real, and frankly, this is what we talk about mailmanmediamusic.com, right?
Carrie
These
Lake's
songs.
song, Donald Trump's song. I mean, this is incredible what's happened. This MAGA marketplace is really what's driving this movement right now.
People are speaking with their pocketbook. We were just talking about, hey, when are the House Republicans going to squeeze the purse strings on these deep state officials, FBI, elsewhere? Well, you know what? People speak with their pocketbook. Congress can do that, and individual real American voices are doing it.
And we're seeing that these individual real American voices are doing it. The question is, will Congress follow suit? Will Congress follow the people and actually do the same thing? We shall see.
We'll see.
It gives you hope that people are rising up. And then you see a video like this. The left continuing to push the idea that men can have babies. This, according to someone who posted a video claiming to be an OBGYN. Now, I've never visited an OBGYN, but I think they know that men can't have babies. But here's the video.
They assist women in labor. and the things that they are doing are uniquely feminine.
So first off, as a doula, your job is to support the person giving birth. If all of the patients that you have are women, then it's totally fine for you to call them women. However, every patient who has a baby is not a woman. As an OBGYN, I care for many patients who are trans men or non-binary people who have babies. The point of inclusive language is not to misgender someone who is a woman or is a mother. It's to appropriately include, especially in educations on large platforms like TikTok, anyone who might need the information. So how dare you during Pride Month come on this app, which is very inclusive of LGBTQ plus communities, and say that nobody who gives birth can be a man or a non-binary person. Just because you don't care for these people or you don't want to care for these people does not mean that they don't exist, and you don't get to choose what they are called. They do. Do better.
Do better.
Do you remember when you'd have to be good at science to be a doctor? Do you remember when there was actually like a time where science worked into the equation?
And people aspired to be doctors, and your parents
because
were
you're
proud.
smart and you can study and you embrace science and reality.
It'd be interesting to find her parents. Are you proud that your daughter became a doctor?
That's so weird. Okay, like, lady, if you need the help, then let's just say it's a woman who gave birth and this woman happens to identify as a man, but it's still a woman. It's a woman. Only women give birth, period, no matter how they identify.
Yeah, let's just stick with the facts and the science, as you said. Here's one more. Another doctor saying that, telling kids that if they're struggling with gender identity, they can go on puberty blockers, Karyn, and hormones, and somehow claiming, falsely, it's completely reversible.
Yeah.
That's what they claim.
My son gets inundated. Like, my son's social media is inundated with LGBTQ stuff. He brings it to me and he's like, look at this. Look at this
So
TikTok.
he just opens up an app and this pops in?
This stuff pops in because of his age. I think that they're targeting kids big time, yes.
Of course, they have to be targeting kids.
Yeah.
Let's play the
It's
video
bad.
and then he give you both a chance to respond. Watch this.
If you have concerns or questions about your gender identity, consider talking to your doctor. There are many things that we can do to help. First of all, there are reversible medications that we can give that can help stop puberty where it is and let you explore your gender a little bit further. And then there is hormone therapy, which is giving you different hormones than are produced by your body. And then there are permanent changes that happen usually when you're a bit older, but those are going to be surgical. So talk to your doctor if you have any questions.
Wait, but if you get into the puberty blockers, you can't all of a sudden, hocus pocus, let's let it get going again.
Can you imagine the effect that it has on your hormones in your body and how your body would react after being on these drugs for years? This is completely false information.
It's frightening. It's frightening that families are even having to have these sorts of conversations, particularly when you're talking about kids 12, 13, 14, or even younger. That's frightening. I feel for any family that's having to have these conversations and having to deal with this.
It's frightening. And you have kids, like you trust your kids, you have conversations with your kids. And my son is like a MAGA kid, like he's conservative and he's being inundated. So it's not the algorithm. They're actually targeting these teenagers.
Right. Once you sign up for the app and say what your age is, presumably then they inundate you with this. Let's move back to the FBI. I want to show this. So a couple of weeks back when Christopher Wray went under oath, remember Andy Biggs said, Wray just told me he does not believe there were any undercover FBI agents in and around the Capitol on January 6th, which we believed at the time was a lie. In a minute, we're going to play you a clip from a whistleblower who says it was a lie. But let's refresh everyone's memory. A little flashback. Chris Wray apparently lying under oath. Watch.
Things here, and please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th.
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
I understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
I think the worst part of all of that is he actually says, I'm going to need to go back to the court filing so I can remember what I said. I don't want to answer this question until I read that because I'm lying and I don't remember what I said, so I have to keep the lie going. Like, that was the most transparent thing you could possibly have.
Mm-hmm. And he's playing a game of semantics.
Go ahead.
He's focusing on the undercover. He's not saying there weren't FBI agents there. He's saying, oh, they weren't technically undercover.
Right.
You know, which means, okay, so they were playing clothes, they were working, they just blended in. But again, it's a game of semantics, I believe.
Right, and that's the flashback. Now there's an FBI whistleblower a couple days ago testified under oath that the FBI, if you follow this, will not allow the over 11,000 hours of J6 footage to be released. Why? Because it would expose undercover agents, which was the question.
Committing crimes.
Committing crimes inside the Capitol. So the committing crimes is even bigger because I wonder what crimes they were. But they were inside the Capitol, which Christopher Wray just said under oath they were not. Here's the FBI whistleblower.
Those individuals were inside the Capitol, to which the SSA responded back, and I was privy to these conversations firsthand. Why can't you show us? Why can't you just send us give us access to the 11,000 hours of video that's available? Because there may be UC's undercover officers or CHS's confidential human sources on those videos whose identity we need to protect.
So if the FBI is saying we can't release the footage, people keep asking us, why can't we release more of this footage? John Solomon did some of it, Tucker did some of it. Well, the FBI and others are saying you can't show the video, Karyn, because it would expose undercover agents.
Incredible.
But the FBI chief under oath, if you follow this, said, I don't know that they were undercover. So why are you using that as an excuse to block transparency and the truth? And then under oath, you're telling Andy Biggs and the American people, I don't know if they were under.
I don't remember what I said.
The lies, they're catching up to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrance?
And what's really disturbing, as you pointed out, Ed, is that some of this video may show that some of these FBI agents, be they undercover or not, were actually committing crimes, which I suspect at this point, the FBI already knows that. There's probably already evidence, and so that's part of the reason they're not releasing that is because it is inflammatory and it's evidence against their own agents.
And I wonder, because I honestly don't know, what crimes would they have committed? Like maybe they destroyed property to encourage MAGA people to destroy property. Did any of them harm a police officer, pretend to be a MAGA person, and hit a police officer, so encouraging? I don't know the answer. But what crimes would these folks have committed?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, if you were an average citizen who allegedly committed a crime, you're in prison for years and years now. They've locked up all these J6 people. But undercover agents got away with riling this up, and it's been covered up by the FBI chief lying under oath. I mean, how dirty is this?
This is really dirty. It's really scary.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Definitely doesn't engender confidence in the agency. Not that many people probably have it at this point, given all the information that we've gotten. Yeah, not just now, but over the years. But it definitely doesn't engender a lot of confidence, I don't think.
Absolutely. Let's grab some headlines, Terrance.
All right. Well, guys, it doesn't appear that President Trump testified before the federal grand jury investigating the January 6th protests at the U.S. Capitol and the alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Thursday was the deadline that special counsel Jack Smith gave the 45th president to appear. However, former White House aide William Russell, who now works for President Trump's campaign, did spend several hours talking with the grand jury on Thursday. There are also reports out this morning that former Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani has already met with the grand jury. President Trump says after receiving a target letter from the special counsel, he expects to be arrested and indicted. The letter reportedly mentions 3 specific federal statutes that Mr. Smith could pursue, and those include conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and tampering with a witness. New York, which is a known sanctuary city for illegal migrants, is apparently feeling the pinch of the crisis at the border. Democrat Mayor Eric Adams says that his city will soon begin handing out flyers to migrants at the border, encouraging them to consider another city other than New York to try and settle. Plus, New York is now limiting stays for adult asylum seekers to 60 days because the city is struggling to house the influx of immigrants. New York City claims that it has provided services to 90,000 migrants since last spring, and nearly 55,000 are still receiving city services. New York's flyer that's being circulated at the border reportedly highlights the high cost of housing, food, and other necessities in the Big Apple. And new this morning, the state of Alabama started its day by putting a murderer to death. James Barber's execution around 2 o'clock this morning marks Alabama's first execution since Republican Governor Kay Ivey lifted a suspension on capital punishment back in February. The 64-year-old was put to death by lethal injection for the beating death of a 75-year-old woman some 20 years ago. This morning's execution was carried out shortly after the Supreme Court declined to intervene. Governor Ivey suspended capital punishment in her state last year so that Alabama's lethal injection process could be reviewed and corrected. There were several botched executions in Alabama last year. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get you back to Ed and Karyn.
Terrance, I see our friend Hawk Diesel, who says he's going to be in West Palm next week, so maybe we'll get together. He says simply, T. Bates has a pinchable face.
Okay. I guess that's a good thing. I guess a compliment.
Yeah, you're loved by many. That's all I would say.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate it. Pinch.
There you go. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. We're going to drain the swamp. We're going to talk about what President Trump is saying, what we specifically need to do to drain that swamp. He was on Fox. We'll talk about it right after this.
It's Biden inflation across the nation. 81 million votes my ass. Hey, 81 million votes my ass. You failed to build back better.
Failed to build back better. Middle finger to middle class. The great Jeff Steele, he's part of the Truth Bombers. Man, he helped write a great song.
It's a great song.
The vocals are great, and Carrie Lake's role was absolutely incredible. Saw that she was at Bedminster for the screening of Sound of Freedom.
Yes, there are a lot of Patriots there.
Absolutely, a lot of Patriots. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. In the meantime, it's time to drain the swamp. All right, can you help me do this for my birthday? I don't want anything. Don't send any gifts. Although I did get some nice cards from viewers, and I got them, and I appreciate it because we've put my address out there a couple times in the chat. But you go to seeamud.com. There's a great patriot there named Kyle. He's moving out of California. Let's support that effort. So he's cut the prices on all the T-shirts. He's cut shipping and handling in half. So it's going to come out of his bottom line. And the Trader Joe's Trader with a T-shirt. T-shirt.
The Joe's Laundry Service is your favorite one.
I do, because, they're laundering money through Ukraine. So he's got that little washing machine with the Ukrainian flag. On the plane to Ukraine with the cocaine. So you get the song. He also has an 81 million votes my ass T-shirt that's exclusive to him.
I like that one.
All right, that's great. In the meantime, let's drain the swamp a little bit. What about draining the swamp at the Pentagon? So Mike Lee is a senator from Utah, and he has this account. Would you see that? At Based Mike Lee, because he likes to go on Twitter. He's a very serious, sober guy.
He's great.
And then he's based, and he gets crazy. So a soldier to the Secretary of Defense. My mom died. I need to travel for her funeral. SecDef. You'll be charged for leave time and must pay your own travel. Soldier to SecDef. I want an abortion. SecDef to soldier. Here's 3 weeks of paid leave, and I'll pay your travel. How warped is that?
It's so warped.
When you think about the priorities and what, you have, a part of life to deal with, a funeral and stuff, and you got to pay it your own way. And you want to get an abortion and kill a life, they're going to support you. They're going to give you time off. They're going to pay for the travel. We've seen this in cities like New York and
Globalist population control supporting that?
Who's behind it?
Yeah.
And I think you asked the key question. It's absolutely insane what's going on.
They talked about it for a long time. Population control, climate change, population control. Here we are.
Absolutely. So Donald Trump was right about the swamp from the beginning, as well as rhino Republicans, and how it's not just about taking on the Democrats. He was asked about all this on Fox. Take a listen to what the president had to say.
Now, that's only the stuff they found. There's a lot of other things, and there'll be some things that you never find, but there's a lot of other things. So he's getting millions of dollars illegally from China, and then you say, hey, they impeached me over a phone call that was perfect. Why aren't they impeaching Biden for receiving tens of millions of dollars? Why isn't he under impeachment?
So I got two questions for you, Karen. So Roger Stone was on Twitter last night saying, so the bottom line is, similar to what the president just said, the House Democrats impeached Donald Trump over Joe Biden's crimes.
Yes.
Right? Because in the perfect phone call, as the president calls it, he was saying to Zelensky, go investigate these alleged bribes that Joe and Hunter.
It was all true. He was a conspiracy theorist.
It's true.
All true.
But he was impeached for asking the Ukrainian president to just take a look at it, right?
And it was true.
And now to take it one step further from what Roger was saying last night, if you listen to that clip from the president, I think that's why I put it in the context of the swamp. Why aren't the rhino Republicans willing to now say, you know what, maybe Trump was right, maybe we should have had a real investigation of the Biden bribes, which is what they were. And so let's take it one step further and move to actually impeach Joe Biden. Or Merrick Garland, or Mayorkas, the Department of Homeland Security dude who's not...
There's so many different angles you could take.
But they said they were going to do this, and they're not doing it.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
It's crazy. I'll tell you what's also crazy is what's going on in these Democrat cities. We talk all the time. Here's a little video we'll talk over. This is Philadelphia. You could look at the trash and whatnot, but look at what drugs... Look at what these drugs are doing to people. They're literally just strung out on the street. This is just happening right before our eyes. Wow. And, we were, like we said, we were just in New Jersey. And you see, particularly in the East Coast Democrat cities, and it's just absolutely crazy. The next one is in Oakland, and we'll show some of that video. So that's the streets of Philadelphia. Let's move on to Oakland. So look at this. The guy comes out of one car, smash, jumps in, just takes whatever he can get. And then you're back in the car. What was that, like 6 or 7 seconds?
Yeah.
And this is literally happening in all of these.
I mean, it's all on film. They know who this guy is. Is he in jail? Probably not. He's
Unlikely.
probably breaking into cars right now.
And then what you see with these Democrat district attorneys is that they're right back out on the streets. And that's what we see in New York. And frankly, that's why we were talking yesterday about the Red Bull, the ice cream, all behind lock and key in Walgreens or CVS or wherever, because nothing is being done to stop this. Trump was also right about how nasty the left can get. I don't know if you saw this, but this one's for you, because the last time we played a clip of Democrat Rosa DeLauro, you were commenting on her purple hair and how she was
what she got on today? What's going on?
Well, so she basically said that Republicans are terrorists. Why? Well, because they disagreed with her, and she's a liberal elite. She's always right. So if you disagree with her, you're a terrorist. Watch.
Is there no limit on how low you will go to break the faith and trust which this committee is supposed to operate, all to placate the whims of some who, I might add, in looking historically, do not ever vote for appropriations bills? You are negotiating with terrorists.
You're a terrorist if you don't agree with this.
I have nightmares about this woman. Like, she scares me. I'm just telling you, truthfully. Like,
You've got nightmares.
Yeah, she's wackadoodle-doo.
All right. Well, I've got this
I might need that.
restful sleep formula, so take it for the weekend. In the meantime, AMAC sponsors our economic headlines.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
There you go. The opening bell looks like it's about to ring. Looks like we hit that just perfect. It looks like VTech. I don't know if that's a promotion for the Barbie movie. I see pink everywhere as people continue to promote that Barbie movie. They apparently don't know they've kept the plot secret because they want everyone to go see the movie, but I'm not sure everyone's going to go see that.
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine. What could the plot possibly be?
It's going to be very real. It might be about the Barbie dream house.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Or the Corvette.
The markets are open. The Dow's up about 69 points. S&P up about 15. NASDAQ up 83 points. So it looks like a green start to this Friday, Terrance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to start your economic headlines with somewhat of an alternative economic story here. A lot of money is going to be spent today as get-rich-quick seekers hope to hit the Mega Millions jackpot. Tonight's drawing is estimated at $720 million, making it the 5th largest jackpot in the game's history. Today's Mega Millions game comes on the heels of a winning Powerball ticket being sold earlier this week, worth just over $1 billion. The Powerball jackpot was the 6th largest in the U.S. history and the 3rd largest in the game's history. Back in 2022, Powerball had the largest jackpot in American lottery history, which was just over $2 million. Well, the number of Americans filing new unemployment claims is at its lowest level in 2 months. Newly released numbers from the Labor Department show that the unexpected decline in unemployment is real. Analysts say the data confirms that businesses remain resilient despite increased interest rates. Economists are cautiously optimistic about the numbers for last month due to seasonal factors. For instance, car companies often shut down plants in July in order to retool for new models. However, the closures don't always happen around the same time, which could skew the numbers. Meantime, the Federal Reserve is expected to raise rates again at its next meeting next week. As central banks in countries like China, India, and Australia begin transitioning to a digital currency, the Federal Reserve has been contemplating the very same thing here in the United States. With a digital currency, the government could track every single purchase you make. In fact, officials could prohibit you from purchasing certain products, or they could easily freeze or seize part or all of your money. These are just some of the reasons concerned Americans are reaching out to the Birch Gold Group. Many of them want to have a physical asset that is independent of the U.S. dollar. Gold held tax-sheltered in a retirement account may be just the thing the doctor ordered. Learn if gold is right for you simply by texting the word America to the number 989898, and the Birch Gold Group will send you a free information kit on gold. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of satisfied customers, and countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold has been helping many listeners just like you from the very beginning. So again, text the word America to the number 989898 and claim your free information kit on gold, because if a central bank digital currency does become reality, it'll be nice to have a little bit of gold on hand that you can depend on. Again, that's the word America to the number 989-898. All right, let's get you back to Ed and Karyn, guys.
All right, guys, let's get some real American voices in. This one from Jay Czar. Ed, maybe Mailman can do a single with the old dude. Is that Willie Nelson? I like a message. Karyn, listen to this. Mama, don't let your cowboys grow up to be cowgirls.
Oh, that's good. I like
Isn't
that.
That's a pretty interesting good idea.
Rebel F for Trump lost her little dog, lost my dear Dooley dog today to kidney failure. He was 12 and blind, but the best ranch dog. My pets are my only family, so God spoiled this dog.
We're thinking about you, and I know that's got to be very difficult, and we hope that you find some comfort in life well lived. Terrance, you want to grab next?
All right, guys, let's put this one up. Oh, wow, that writing is way too small for me. I don't have it up, guys. I can't see that writing on my screen.
Owen says, why can't we make some programming suggestions? Zen Master, I'm really wanting to see more Power Hour at night. So besides all the other great work you guys do, dude, you made Bannon speechless twice for 3 to 5 seconds. You know, that was funny.
It was great. I love the pitch clock. I love when you do prime time. So
he said, I'm a War Room Posse member, but I enjoyed you causing the brain lock on Bannon. It was fun. We asked him if he wanted to do a song, and he kind of laughed. He had a little brain lock. But you know what? He's not going to have any brain lock at the top of the hour. The guy's ready to go. He's been on fire all week long, so we hope you're watching at the top of 10. He was right in the middle of that screening of Sound of Freedom. He's done a lot to propel that movie, and rightly so. It's got a great message. In the meantime, you know, he's got a great message, our friend, Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer. He's coming up with some special prayers for President Trump as they get ready to indict him maybe again. We'll also go to Washington and check in with our friend Joe Weber. A 60-second sunrise coming up right after this.
I feel bad for you, bruh. I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. Hit me. Trump 2020.
Plane to Ukraine, a little cocaine. That's what's going on. Pardon me, at the White House. If you're just joining us a little earlier, we reported Tony Bennett has passed. Quick picture. I just reached out to Victim Own, one of his daughters, Victoria. There was Victim Own on the right. So when I talk about my dear friend Vic, who passed a few years ago, there he is on the right. Tony Bennett on the left, who just passed this morning in New York City. And I believe that's one of Tony's daughters, one of his kids. So obviously his legacy is going to live on through music. And we certainly celebrate his life and this loss. In the meantime, let's get to a 60-second sunrise. Yeah, this is where we check in with Joey Webbs. That's what they're calling him in the Getter chat right now. He's got a big fan following. Joseph Weber is the official name. Reporter Joseph Weber reporting for duty, but Joey Webbs, as a lot of people like to say. What's going on with Virginia and education policy when it comes to trans students? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So Virginia has announced some new policies in their public schools, which includes giving parents the sole authority to change their children's names and pronouns in classrooms. So these policies make good on Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin's 2021 campaign promise to promote parents' rights, particularly with regard to giving them priority in making decisions about their children in schools. Here's a top-line list of some of the new changes. Schools will now be prevented from referring to students by a name or pronoun other than that reflected on their official school record, unless a student's parents is instructed in writing or that a different name be used. And any school activity separated by sex shall be done so by sex rather than gender identity. Now, the new guidelines also state that single-user bathrooms facilities should be made available in accessible areas and provide with appropriate signage. We talked about this before. Youngkin in that 2021 campaign really tapped into parents' outrage about not being included in decision-making in public schools. And so we're seeing that come into effect here.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about, is it Detroit? Is it Michigan right now where they've got a law where if you identify folks, get the wrong pronoun, they're going to go after you? I mean, it's been insane, and I'm sure parents are dealing with it, school districts are dealing with it as well. And frankly, we're dealing with the fact that you're becoming more famous than we are. I'm looking in the live chat on Getter. There's now people saying Webbies Unite.
Yes, no, there is a big Joe Weber contention.
And there is one brave patriot saying, Joe Weber, please wear a bow tie. Is that possible next week?
Didn't kind of work out for Tucker Carlson so well, but maybe I'll give it a shot.
This has been a reoccurring
Joe,
thing.
he's making $20 million a year. Pardon me. What are you talking about? It worked out. He got fired, but he's getting paid. You don't want to get paid by John Solomon? Come on.
I do. Yeah, I heard there's talk of me getting my own show.
Oh, really? I'll have to talk to the Zen Master. But you were saying.
No. The bow tie has been a reoccurring theme. They've been asking for this bow tie for a while, and it has heated up.
Think about it over the weekend. I think it worked for Tucker in the end, but go ahead.
I'm going to head down to J Press this afternoon.
J Press, that's the store that's got them, right? That's down there in City Center, I think. Somewhere
there you go, yeah.
Joe Weber, have a great weekend. They probably keep the bow ties behind lock and key now in these Democrat cities. They're going to steal them.
They stealing them?
Joe won't steal them. Joe will pay full price. Solomon pays them well. We're going to turn now to 2024. It's getting saucy. Yeah, this is simply the best barbecue sauce, the protein rubs. Gotta love the South Carolina mustard that Karyn slavish on everything.
Yes.
And the Alabama show horse for the potato salad. I had that ahead of my birthday. It was absolutely fabulous. It's hard to get Karyn to cook for you, but when she does, it's special.
Thanks.
It was great, and we appreciate it. And, special really defines not just Red State Barbecue, but our friend Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer joins us again, Pastors for Trump. Pastor, good to see you. I understand you had a big storm there near Tulsa this morning. Hope you and your family are safe, sir.
It's great to see you guys. And, we had a storm come through, but it's Oklahoma. So that's just part of so I'm on my phone today.
All right. Well, you're looking good anyway. We now hear that Jack Smith is special counsel, maybe readying yet another indictment of Donald Trump. I know you've put these pastors together. You've been praying for the president. Where do we stand on all this? Because on one hand, he's persecuted. On the other hand, I see we the people, not just the pastors, rising up and waking up and saying we need to stand behind this man. Please jump in, sir.
Yeah, it's such like an unprecedented thing. We've never seen something like this before. And so, pastors for Trump, we've got pastors in over 10,000 pastors actually in all 50 states. And, we have monthly prayer calls where we just pray for President Trump, and we really pray for the nation because, yes, they may be going after him as an individual, but who they're really after, and you hear him say this all the time, is us, the American citizens. And so, our nation is in desperate need of prayer right now. Our nation's in desperate need of a turnaround. And we believe that turnaround comes through prayer. And so we've got a prayer call this Sunday. Got General Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, some other great people that'll be coming on. So people can go to pastorsfortrump.com and they can join that prayer call with us.
All right, Sunday.
Yeah, the prayer calls are always great. I've been on a few of them, Jackson, and you guys do a great job. And it's just beautiful. You walk away from it feeling like there's hope.
Absolutely. And we count on you, Pastor, to answer some of the questions that we might not be able to answer on a regular basis. These metaphysical questions and whatnot. I want to put up a headline and see if you can walk us through this. New York Post. I'm a transgender dad, it says, who gave birth to my daughter when my partner could not conceive. Transgender dad Caleb Bolden, 27, paused his transition journey to give birth because the partner could not conceive. I can't follow these anymore. Can you?
That one I'm at a loss for, Ed. There's not much I can follow on. That's a headline for one, but what we see is this is happening all over the country. And this is happening, and the mutilation of children. Think about it. 10 years ago, we'd all been in agreement, whether you were a Democrat, whether you were a Republican, that mutilating children was just something we didn't do in this country. And now you have a major group of people that are advocating for this, pushing for this. And so this is a spiritual battle. This is good versus evil. And, we're seeing it play out in regard to Disney and Hollywood trying to stop Sound of Freedom from coming out. I mean, think about it. Who would have advocated years ago that child sex trafficking was wrong? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the power of prayer is so important right now for all of us. When you're in a desperate time, it's so important to turn to God because ultimately He's in control.
Absolutely. And I appreciate so much what you're doing, Pastor, to bring so many people together. Let me throw one more video at you. This is a trans Army soldier talking about how hard it is to cope with gender dysphoria. This is someone who's supposed to protect us from China and other enemies. Watch.
Hey y'all, so today I'm going to make a video showing how I cope with gender dysphoria while in uniform. If you don't know, when you're an active duty soldier who is transitioning genders, you have to go by standards that align with your gender in CAC and DEERS until that is changed. This means that because my gender is a male in CAC and DEERS, I cannot present as a female in uniform. I have a few ways that I find help me cope with my gender dysphoria while on duty, and I'd like to share them. I'm going to be honest, they're not a lot, but they do help me. The first thing I do is wear clear nail polish. According to regulation, men are allowed to wear clear nail polish while on duty. When I'm in uniform, this makes me feel a bit more feminine because my hands feel pretty when my nails are painted. The second thing I do is wear feminine scents. There is no regulation for what scents you can and can't wear. Pretty self-explanatory, this one. Smell feminine, feel feminine. I also like to put on.
Pastor, you ran for the United States Senate on a platform that included a strong national defense. Under General Milley and others, are you confident in what's going on right now, sir?
Boy, I can tell you, our enemies, they love seeing that. They absolutely love seeing that. And that goes to further the reason why we need to make sure that Donald Trump is reelected in 2024, because our military is being hijacked by a bunch of crazy people. And, that's a severe mental illness that you just saw right there, or it's either something very demonic. Those are your two options. That is not normal behavior by any individual. And that individual should not be serving in our U.S. military, bottom line. And so we've got to make sure that President Trump is back in office because, my goodness, China has got to be loving this right now, seeing the collapse of the military of the United States. Not only is our dollar collapsing, but our military is collapsing as well. And so we're in trouble. But to Karyn's point earlier, there really is power in prayer. There really is. And God can turn this nation around. And I believe God is going to do that.
Yeah, I hope so. I really want to be optimistic. I love when we have you on, and I love doing these prayer calls because, like I said, you walk away feeling like there's hope. But sometimes we show these videos and talk about China and looking at this man, woman, person.
Right, with the clear nail polish and the feminine scent. One more time, give us that website so people can tap into the power of prayer this Sunday. What time is it?
So Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern, General Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, and some other great Americans will be coming on, as well as pastors, to pray. Then go to pastorsfortrump.com, Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time.
All right, Pastor Jackson Longmire, we appreciate you checking in with us. We'll join you Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Check it out, pastorsfortrump.com. Pastor, have a great weekend. We appreciate you, sir. Meantime, we'll take a quick break. We're going to wrap all this up after a fabulous week. All kinds of great stuff to talk about, including Sunny Side Up right after this.
Took a trip to Ukraine, now high on this plane, cocaine.
Trump 2024 till I'm blue in the face. Us patriots better get ready and move to a state that's super red like blood suit whoop in their face. I make this music for the truth won't erase. Get on CNN, Fox and show up 2 minutes late and tell them off like
we make the music for the truth. How about that? Go to mailmanmediamusic.com. Gotta love those beers headed in the weekend. Maybe in the afternoon people can enjoy that responsibly, or in the evening. But you should also be drinking tea, because it's time to spill some tea. Now, this is sponsored by the Artillery Tea Co. As you see there, artilleryteaco.com. Use that promo code RAP for 10% off. I think about the mother of all bombs, which as a reporter, I remember covering that the Pentagon was putting that together. That God forbid they had to drop it in, like a major war, which, Biden may be bumbling us into World War III. You play those clips of those soldiers, and who's in the military right now? There are a lot of great people, a lot of great patriots. I'm not disparaging the entire military, but let me be clear. But individual ones who are clearly not ready for battle.
But and how does that inspire other people that might want to join the service? Think about all the people that might want to join that are saying, I don't want to be a part of that now.
100%. But you can count on the Artillery Tea Company. the morning mother of all bombs, and a decaf version as well. Terrance likes the one with the caffeine to get him going. I use the coffee to get going in the morning, but then the tea in the afternoon. And you can ice it because it's pretty darn hot in Florida right now and pretty much all around
the chamomile mint iced tea is delicious, and then I sweeten it. What I do is I make it hot. Mm-hmm. I take the honey, I mix it in so the honey dissolves while it's still hot, and then you pour it over the ice.
I love
so you make
it.
like a concentrate, like a tea concentrate with the honey.
All
make
over
it dissolve. Ooh, so good.
That's great. It sounds good. And by the way, this is a patriotic company that supports our men and women in uniform, gives back to charities that support the military, and gives back, by the way, to charities that support our first responders who matter as well, law enforcement and others. In the meantime, in terms of spilling some tea, this clip from Mr. Rogers. Did you like Mr. Rogers?
I loved Mr. Rogers.
So did I. My mom makes fun of me because I guess every day I've like tied my shoes with Mr. Rogers.
You did? That's
yeah,
so
never heard
cute.
that? Surprised she hasn't told you.
Did you like
that.
the trolley?
The trolley was fun, but there was something.
Daniel Tiger?
Yes, but I used to tie my shoes. Let me tie a shoe. I don't know, whatever the song was, but my parents teased me all the time. I'm surprised they haven't messaged you about that because
I don't
they love
know.
teasing
I'm
me.
hoping that they'll tell me more things about
I'm sure
you.
you'll learn all
your
the
spelling
dirt.
bee challenge, all sorts
Don't
of
talk
things.
about the spelling bee. That's for another
All
show. Mr. Rogers, on sex and gender identity, I guess you would call it now.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. If you were born a girl, you stay a girl and grow up to be a lady. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies. Yes, sir.
Wow, only girls can be the mommies.
Only boys can be the daddies. It's a great song.
That man was way ahead of his time.
He was amazing.
Was it that he was smart, or was he just following logic and reason and science and
a different time in America?
It's not that complicated. Just tell the truth, Terrance.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that he would be singing that sort of song during that time because I'm not so sure gender identity was a thing back then. I would have been a kid, so maybe I just wasn't aware of it. But it surprises me that that was a discussion or even necessary of discussion even back then. And it's got to be.
But maybe
what,
he was just
40,
teaching kids. It wasn't a controversy, right? He was just speaking truth.
He was speaking truth. He was just trying to raise good little boys and girls.
Only girls can be mommies. They grow up to be ladies. Mm-hmm. And now it's not always the case.
No.
Or at least
I mean, it is the case.
Well, it is. Exactly. I was going to say it is still the case. Girls are still mommies. They just may identify otherwise, but bottom line, they're still mommies. And they're still girls.
Have you seen Dylan Mulvaney?
Yeah, that's a man.
That was a girl, right?
It's a man.
Or it was a man that became a girl. I'm sorry. So boys don't stay boys. I guess I flipped it because I can't even keep track.
It's hard.
But, so Dylan was a boy,
no matter how he
didn't become a man.
Still a
but
boy.
he is a man. You say he's a man. Yeah. Still a man.
No matter how he identifies, he's still a boy, man, guy, dude, fella.
All right, let me just throw this out there when we spill some political tea. President Trump put this on Truth Social last night, that Vivek Ramaswamy is now beating what Trump calls the sanctimonious in some polls. He also said Christie is as dead as his stomach band. And Ada Hutchinson, he doesn't call him Asa, is a solid -1. I'm up 44 points. What do you think about Vivek now in some polls sliding into second place, and DeSantis, who was supposed to be the next one, is sliding back into third?
I think it's really interesting. I had a friend call me yesterday, and she's making predictions that Vivek could be the VP pick for Trump.
It's interesting, but there's a lot of MAGA people who don't trust him, Terrance. You get the final word.
And to that point, there are reports out that are saying that Vivek has said that he would not accept a cabinet position if offered if he doesn't happen to win, or a vice presidential pick. So we shall see, whether he has a change of heart. But there are reports
people have
out
said that, because if you say I'll take a cabinet position, nobody takes you seriously as a presidential candidate. So you got to say, no, I'm not in. I'm in it for the top job. And then once they ask you to be number 2, you say yes. Mm-hmm. That's sort of how it all plays out. But it's interesting. The most interesting is that DeSantis, in some polls, is no longer in second place.
He's cooked.
Is that you're making that prediction?
He's out.
All right, we're going to save that tape. Karyn says he's out on July 21st.
Bye-bye.
Oh, okay. Time for Sunny Side Up. Is there a Sunny Side Up for DeSantis? All right, this is a donkey named Diego. He comes up to the window every morning for nose scratches and some breakfast. Watch. And there you go. Patriots, have a good weekend.